Welcome to the Catbird Quilts. I'm Kathy Martin, and today we're going to do one of my least favorite things, trimming HSTs. But I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to make a dent. So you may remember from our previous part-time quilter that I have created a project for myself out of the little triangles that came off of my strips that have been trimmed. I've now pressed them and sewn them together, which of course the sewing is the fun part. The trimming, not so much. And I have quite a stack here, and this is actually would be a very small project. If I was doing a whole quilt full of HSTs, oh my gosh, so many to do. And it can be very daunting. So I'm just gonna do a few. I don't actually know how many I'm gonna do. But I wanted to talk about the fact that this whole year, I realized that as a person who works full-time with a family, it's tempting to say I'm too busy. I'm too busy to quilt. I'm too busy to whatever, do things that I love. But I actually have more downtime than I realize, and I've really been trying to create a habit of looking at my time and redeeming my time for the sake of putting myself down the road for my quilting goals. I've read in many reliable sources that the way to make a new habit is to pair it with something that you're already doing every day. And it just so happens that when I get off work every day, I come home and hang out with my husband. In that same literature that talks about making a habit, bonus points if you pair it with something that you really like. And it just so happens that I actually really like hanging out with my husband in the evening after I get off work. That's why I'm sitting on my living room floor. Because this is what I do. I come home and we talk about my day and his day, and my daughter comes in and gives me a hug, and we hear about her day. And then we have some part of the evening where we watch TV, or I do some kind of handwork, and he researches how to find the best storage for video, or we listen to chill hop. And I realize that it's really easy for me to just either tune into a show or tune out into social media. And then for lack of a better word, I kind of squander that precious time. So I have started literally getting down on the floor, and I try to do the tasks that I don't have to do in my sewing area. Because that's in the other room, and it takes me away from hanging out with my husband. And that's actually what I want to be doing. But sometimes I have quilting goals that I also want to get accomplished. And so this is one of those things I really detest. I don't know of anybody that really loves trimming HSTs. If they do, I feel like they need to have their head examined. Just kidding. If you like trimming HSTs, I want to know what it is that makes that enjoyable for you. But so I just started doing like this, and sometimes I'll pin pieces, and it allows me to be in the environment that I want to be in, which is in the living room with my spouse, and also get some things accomplished. Now, I will tell you that my objective in trimming HSTs is not to get a huge volume of work done. Sometimes I spend more time talking. That's probably not a surprise. Sometimes I spend more time looking up at the TV. The TV's right there. Looking up at the TV, I get sucked into a show, and I might get, like in this case, I've gotten 2 done. This is pretty typical. But that's 2 that I won't have to do later. And that's kind of the way I approach it, because when I do get to that time where I have in my free time when I'm not working, I want to sit down at my sewing machine and I want to sew. I don't really want to spend half a day or an hour or really any time, truthfully, because I really don't like trimming HSTs. So my objective in this time that I have in the evening is, honestly, it's not about being super productive and getting a huge volume of work done. It's more that I'm going to be in here anyway, watching or listening to a movie or a show, hanging out with my spouse, and it just gives me an opportunity to redeem that time and not be checked out on my phone. In fact, I think I'm actually a little more engaging with him socially when I'm doing something like this, way more so than I would be if I was sitting on the couch with my face in Instagram or Facebook. So anyway, and for those of you that are like, there would be no way I could get down on my floor. About a year ago, I realized that I was starting to lose some flexibility that I had formerly had in my early 30s. I'm not in my early 30s anymore. But, you know, they say use it or lose it. And so I thought, well, maybe if I want to be able to get up and down off the floor a little more easily, then I should spend a little more time on the floor. So that I kind of started doing that. And I have been surprised at, first of all, how enjoyable it is. It reminds me of when I was a teenager and this was my preferred place to be. I would be on the floor doing whatever, homework, or I crafted even then. I was a cross-stitcher back in the day. And so, you know, I might only be on the floor for about 5 or 10 minutes, or initially I was. Now I can sit here for half the night because I've been doing this for a while. But if you are not a person who can get down on the floor, obviously you don't have to do this on the floor. You might do this at your dining room table. You might do this in your sewing room, or whatever. And of course, you might not even do trimming of HSTs. But it's just that idea of you go where you want to be and then see how you can redeem that time for some of your smaller and more mobile quilting goals or sewing goals, whatever it is. So it might be pinning, it might be cutting fabric like this, it might be trimming, who knows? But just that, taking those precious times that we have and making something of it. For those of you that are watching and you're thinking, why doesn't she have the rotating mat? You may have noticed I tend to be really practical, and I have not gotten into all of the sewing and quilting gear. I kind of am a person who's like, I have a sharp rotary cutter and a self-healing mat and a straight edge. It's kind of all I need. So if you happen to have all those tools and they work great for you, that's so awesome. If you're a person like me who has kind of the pared back basics, that's fine too. Whatever works for you is the way to go. So I've gotten the whopping 6 half square triangles. I might try to buckle down and finish this stack, or I might call it a day and go watch some TV with my husband and spend that time that way as well. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Just a reminder, take that time that you have and make a dent. Thanks for watching. I'm Kathy Martin, and this is the Catbird Quilts.